It
Dan,
was this map that they beat G2 on.
It's an upper rush then.
It is indeed an upper rush. RPK's there, ready and waiting with his comrades. He will die though, as well as his comrades, courtesy of Mousesports. An aggressive start from Mousesports.
You know how I knew this then?
How did you know?
It's not how you start, it's how you finish.
How
Screw
did
you
you
guys
know?
and your conversation. Happy and XMS both in the heavy position. Heaven position. The bomb has been planted, and now life is going to get really awkward. But the question is, do Mousesports know both players are up here? They do now, because the two players are facing. Make it one, their faces have been taken off. I know Yanko will like that reference. There's one player in the hut, one player in Squeaky. There's opportunity for the CT side if they can recognize where both these players are, but Happy has no idea. Maybe they think both players are the one player. Lowell, I still don't know where he is. He's got a reasonable angle on the bomb. Happy trying to cover, and indeed there is the retake. 2 versus 4. Envy win the pistol.
Yanko, how did you know this? Because I know you wanted to say. Because James got in there, he's too excited.
James interrupted me, and he couldn't even, you know, make a sensible sentence. But we'll disregard that. I knew because I saw the grenades on Lowell. He had a grenade, a smoke, and a flash, which tells you that he wants to
throw grenades,
destroy the door,
yep,
throw a flash towards Mini, and also throw a smoke there. And his team is just gonna rush hot. That was a very, very poorly played 4v2 from Mousesports, allowing Envyus players to single them out. Ooh, that's a nice shot. You love to see that, Dan. You love to see that. So this is where Mousesports actually has a decent chance, despite being on an eco. They just need to group up now. They need to find an opening, but that grenade from Scream.
That's unfortunate.
Money nade.
It's quite an answer, isn't it?
It's really nice just to have that guy alive there, because like you talked about this last time on Nuke, just forcing the CTs to have a guy down there. And because they're already a man down, it means that they're 3 men between upper site and ramp, and that's perhaps too little, so they actually play more tight to the bomb sites. There's more space here, which allows Mousesports just to get in straight away on the lower sites.
And this is also safe play from Envyus, right? They're conceding the bomb plant, or probably so. Yes, they will, but they want to secure the round without having too many casualties. So it's a good decision from them. Mousesports would buy regardless. This way, they are securing basically a healthy buy round for themselves. And it's always a matter of, you know, teams have different preferences when it comes to this. Some teams are actually really unwilling to concede a bomb plant in this round, right? They know they can fairly, after getting first contact, they can guess that their opponents are on an eco if they don't force, like with dropping AKs and getting some pistols. So some teams will fight and not concede the plant and try to farm the kills, while other teams are basically looking more after their own economy, and they're willing to concede the plant as long as they don't lose too many of their own players, so they can keep buying and keep pressuring their opponents. So now you see, because of that plant, Mousesports actually have 5 AKs. They have pretty much all the nades that they need. On the other side of things, we actually have 4 UMPs for Envyus and a lonely M4 on screen.
Rops getting off to the opening kill for his team. Oh dear, Happy. You appear to be trapped and on fire, and now you're absolutely dead. Smokes all over the place. Great start from Mousesports, but again, Envy still on the UMPs. So it's not the worst case scenario, not ideal though. 6 with a double dink. See if he can retrieve the AK later on. So we're in a 4 versus 2. A minute 10 on the clock for the Mousesports side, and life only gets better for them in this round. RPK only good for the 1 kill trade from Chris J. And that's a comfortable first round on the board for Mousesports.
I wonder if Envyus will switch things up with Happy's position, or how dynamic he'll be there, because that Molotov from Mousesports into that position is really intelligent, due to the fact that if you ever watch Envyus games, Happy does play in that position most of the time. He doesn't often mix it up all that much. You'll often find him in that corner, so obviously the Molotov just completely destroys him in that spot, and he's isolated from his teammates. So that's a really good pick off, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that dynamic starts to evolve as they try to get that edge, try to find ways to pick Happy continually. But obviously this is great for Mousesports. Straight back in it with those couple picks. And quite a brave play, actually, going straight through the door. And as Yanko highlighted, the lonely M4 of Scream immediately taken down with that pick. And Mousesports showing confidence early today.
And also, like we were describing Robs as more of a passive player, waiting for his team to make plays, and then he reacts to that and tries to find an opening. Here, he was actually the guy initiating contact with a sneaky play through Squeaky, and he found an opening for his team. So a player who has a very versatile skill set. And you can see what that means for Envyus. They are buying armor on some of the players, but it still seems like it's going to be just a half buy. You know, the players who have more money, they will be able to afford armor and some pistols, perhaps a smoke or two, but they are not going to go into a full buy. And it's very difficult, no matter, even if you have a flawless second round, if the T's buy in the third round and they win that round, you are not going to have a healthy buy if you decide to force up. Someone is going to have to play with pistols or perhaps SMGs. It's definitely not going to be optimal. So again, it comes down to preference, whether teams are willing to play with a, you know, suboptimal buy, or are they going to bite the bullet, go for an eco or a half buy, and then have a good buy in round number 5. Especially on nuke, it's not the end of the world if you go for a half buy, because the map is still fairly city-side, and with some good coordination and a bit of luck, to get maybe some good shots off with the Deagles or close range with the CZs, you can still be in a position to win the round. But Dennis, just with pure aggression, completely dismantles the upper side defense, the A bomb site. And my point is no at the moment, Dan.
It is moots.
It's moot.
Yeah. That's the round over. Just walks out.
Mooted.
And you're dead.
Mooted. Dennis has also had a resurgence in form after Nico left the team.
Yeah.
He has played better, and in general, I mean, it's difficult to have amazing performances in the role of the entry fragger, so I'm not really sure where it comes from, whether he actually has a bit more freedom after Nico left, or is it just like renewed motivation from having a new player, better atmosphere in the team. But he has definitely been performing better.
I think it has to be a better atmosphere now. I don't mean purely because of Nico, but I think that the team as a whole are in a better place and are a team.
Do you think,
compared to before,
because you have an outside perspective, and this is a question for you, Dan, as well, did Nico look like a toxic player to you guys from the outside? Because you were at T-League as well.
I'll answer this after this round, because we've got a fast play into the A site. Chris J with a nice opening shot onto screen, but RPK in a better position than the previous buy round with a quick 3K, and that might be the round. Again, it's very hard to deal with him in positions such as that, where he's got lots of cover. 4K for RPK, Oscar unable to escape in the vent, and that's a fast, successful round for Envy, despite the entry from Mousesports.
Before you answer me, James, I have to say that when you go for an upper rush like this, it's all dependent on the entry kill, because that's when you can get the kill on RPK before he gets into position, and more importantly, before his teammates are there to support him with the rotation. So if you can't get that entry kill, he is most of the time, not just RPK, but any player that holds upper like this, more often than not, he'll be able to mow down at least 3 players. And great adjustment from Mousesports. AWP on Oscar predicts where Sixer is going to be and gets the entry kill for his team. Now you can answer me, James.
Well, we have to wait again, because there's more Counter-Strikes to talk about, so
okay, I'm sorry,
we'll have
James.
plenty of time
I apologize.
to answer your question. That.
Is it too late to say sorry?
It's never too late to apologize.
It is too late.
Nice. Top banter at 6 a.m.
So down the stairs, Mousesports go. XMS are looking to get some info here, which is pretty important. They could actually sandwich those players. Scream going down on the upper bomb site. And now life is getting quite hard for, well, it's pretty much impossible to win this round now for Happy. Unless he pulls an MBK. Saw MBK yesterday. That 1v5 was just absolutely unreal. But 3-3 is the score now, as Envyus are having some hard times.
Talk to me, James.
Okay, to answer your question, do I think Nico's a toxic player? No, I don't think he's a toxic player. I didn't get that impression at all from E-League. And when we were doing the, I don't remember which tournament it was, but when I had a 4-team setup, when 4 teams would be in the hall at any one time, I remember we were commentating a different match, and they were setting up next to us, and they would all be like standing together watching our screens when something crazy was happening. But I don't think he's a toxic player, but I could see how he would get frustrated. If you're playing on a team where your individual skill far exceeds the average, then you're going to be, and I don't mean like aiming, I mean like how you think about the game and you approach it. You're going to have expectations from your teammates. When they don't meet that, you're going to get frustrated. And then maybe that was going to add to a difficult environment as well, when you're struggling in rounds where you should win and you're making lots of mistakes. It's just not a good environment for the team. So I wouldn't put much of it on him. I think if there is a bad environment, everybody can be a contributing factor. But outside of the personalities, I think there are struggles which cause a problem, which may be extenuated by someone's personality afterwards. But I wouldn't say it was the core issue. Speaking of issues, Envy looking to get a win with the eco, and it's looking pretty good at the moment. Dennis, well, as I say that, XMS with 8 HP, but he's picked up an AWP.
Bog down low in effect.
Question is, can he point it in the right direction? Not scoped at the moment, and now he's got the high ground advantage. That said, there are 38 seconds for Dennis.
Wow.
And now there are no seconds left. So what is your opinion, Dan?
I think to me it's sort of clear that
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Dan. I just want to say sorry that someone should clip James's answer, because that's the perfect answer, not just for Mousesports, but for
Teams
most
and
of the teams that
situations in general.
you feel like there's a player who's sticking out. Continue, Dan. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, it's the same line as James's thoughts. Just it looked just quite clear that they're very frustrated with what was going on, and they were not capable of fixing the problems. But they kept obviously trying as a team, and then it just kept failing, and it just eventually you just wonder what the hell do you have to do to fix the problems, and it's just frustrating every time.
I have something to add, but after this gun round ends, James.
Scream getting a deep flash. Oh dear, they have not checked the corner properly, but how much will it cost them? Scream taking the bomb down, delaying and pulling the T's out of position while they try to approach the site. High ground taken away, but Happy is going to put it into 2 versus 2. Rotating position as well. I don't know. There is Lowell in main, so he should hear that, but XMS is there to finish off the job. Yanko, add your point.
I think that stems, the problem that Mousesports had with Nico, that stems from the lack of leadership. Because Nico was kind of forced into that in-game leader role, and I don't think he is a good in-game leader. Not because he doesn't have a good understanding of the game, but because of his mentality. He's a very emotional player, and as you pointed out, James, he can get frustrated by some of the mistakes that happen, but as a leader, you need to set an example for your team, and you basically set the tone for the whole team. So you need to be the player, the person who is going to be the most composed, who is going to be calm at all times, who is going to be the one, dictating basically the pace and the momentum of your team. And that was very difficult for him to execute, basically. And that was the problem for Mousesports. I mean, they were aware of it for a very long time. They were looking for either a coach or a player who could be an in-game leader. There was also a possibility after Kerrigan was benched that he could join Mousesports, but he got a better offer from FaZe. So I think that's the one thing that prevented that Mousesports lineup from reaching the top, right? Because always when it was a close game and they would narrowly lose, it was because they would lose a silly round and then things would just snowball out of control, because that would impact them immensely mentally, and they just couldn't pick themselves up after it. So again, both Nico and Mousesports seem to have benefited from the change, but Mousesports definitely not benefiting from that missed smoke. It can cause a lot of problems, as we see Sixer is posted up towards heaven, and he does get the kill on Chris J. Doesn't get much more information. He didn't see the 2 players cross, so that might be something that will work towards Mousesports' way.
But they had to use all their flashes, Mousesports, in order to get past that situation. So with this smoke, for example, they have no good way to get through that smoke. And that's going to be a problem for them. There is time on the clock, however. But if they want to execute, like you see, you've got Rops on the on the roof, but he can't flash into A, for example, because there's no flashes. And with positions like RPK had in that run where he got the 4K, it's going to be really hard to flash him unless you go through the ceiling. So Mousesports got to play for picks now.
Yeah, I don't think like when you have a smoke thrown at you in secret, no flash is gonna help you. Just kind of have to wait it through. And Mousesports had enough time to you know, be patient. So 4-4 situation, XMS is making a lot of noise. Still, fortunately, gets the kill on Rops because he was low HP. Dennis, on the other side of things, gets the kill on Happy, and now we have a 3v3 situation. Very doable for the T's.
Yeah, and Rops losing out that lurk really helps Envyus bring themselves into positions here to try to retake from ramp as Sixer and XMS start to use the grenades to get into that position. Scream, really important frag as well on the flank there towards control room, starting to cause the heads to turn to Mousesports, which might buy some openings here for Envyus, but perhaps not have to hit the shots as well. Dennis and Lowell doing wonderfully well at that. Really nice shot there by Sixer, but a lot of work to do. 39 health to do it with. Dennis is on 2 HP, but he's going to have an unknown angle that Sixer just won't be able to find in time. That's 6-4 now. Money is definitely within a Bible range for Envyus as Mousesports pick that one up.
Dennis having a whale of a time at the moment, getting entry kills, clutching around for his team. A lot of impact. You can also see he's at the top of the scoreboard. So so when we talk about swing rounds, crucial rounds, whatever you want to name it, this round is a great example of just that. You can see how both teams were pretty low on money, and whoever wins this round obviously will force the other team to eco, and even when they go for a buy, it's not going to be an optimal buy. Rops this time around gets punished by Scream for that push through Squeaky. Envyus is rotating towards the lower bomb site. Mousesports has great pace, but will it be fast enough, James?
Happy taken down above, well, around the rafters next to the silo, or the catwalk, rather. So Envy, were faster on rotation, but again, they keep getting caught on the site one by one, which gives Mousesports a chance again. The percentages are going back and forth. You see there's a CT or two in the ramp position, and it seems at this point they will let the bomb get planted and then come in for the retake. So will they expect the second player towards the ramp? One of those players will need to look towards control. Scream is in a position to do that, but before he can even get onto that angle, Lowell will make an appearance. Dennis was in the vent for a double peek with his teammates, and there is Lowell. No one to support him anymore, leaving Chris alone at the back of the vent. RPK going to smoke the bomb, but will he have the right angle? Indeed, he will. He'll stick with the M4, not picking up an AK, and Sixer with the AWP. RPK defusing the bomb, got himself a 2K. In that situation, though, I always think you should let the AWPer defuse the bomb, just so he gets that little bit extra money.
I agree. It's not just that, also, you know, if an AWPer covers you while a rifler diffuses. Oh, you were meaning after they got the last kill?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well, you know, I mean, yeah, you can.
I was going to say, like, if you're in a 2v1 situation, the AWPer should always diffuse, because if a rifler is diffusing and an AWPer is covering him, if he misses his shot, you know, the diffuser can die and you can run out of time. But yeah, in that 3v2 situation, even though Dennis, after all, got the kill in a 3v3 and turned it into a 3v2, Dennis, even though the position in vents is very strong to hold, like, if a CT drops down, you have the advantage if you're waiting for him. But, you know, if it's a 3v2, maybe you should just hold an off angle outside vents or something like that, not risk losing that duel, even though you have the advantage. I mean, it's a difficult call to make, because in hindsight, obviously, like, you know, if you die, it's going to be like, oh, why did he wait for that? But, you know, it's one of those things where you have to make a call whether you go for the play where you have the advantage, or you use the numbers that you have because you're in a 3v2 and you kind of play off of your teammates more. So I think, you know, 3 times out of 5, Dennis gets that kill, but unfortunately he fell to RPK, and that was the deciding kill of that round, in my opinion. Mousesports, and especially Lowell, doing a lot of damage in the Seeker round, but still not enough to actually turn it?
I think that's an interesting question.
What the one thing?
No, when it comes to defusing the bomb, like who should defuse the bomb? Because I don't think the game is to the point where you have tiny details drilled like that. And it's not even necessarily like the AWPA.
Are you talking about money specific?
Yeah.
Only?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because it's not even necessarily that the AWPA should do it. Maybe it's the person with the most money, so they can drop regardless. You know, they'll be in the best. Whoever will be in the best spot to drop an AWPA in future shouldn't be required.
I don't think you're gonna pay too much attention to it because it is $300 in the end. You know, you're not gonna look if like 3 players are alive. You're not going to look who has
But you should,
what amount of money.
You should. You know why? Do you know why? Because it's the small edges that take you over the line, right? There's a great study on the British cycling team and also the Sky cycling team, which is like the non-Olympics, I guess, British team. They're sponsored by Sky, and all the tiny things they look at, like their cyclists will bring their pillows to hotels so they get better sleep, and they have all these ridiculously tiny edges that make them one of the most successful teams in the world. Anyway, enough about that. Mousesports moving into the A site, and it's down to RPK to hold things down again. He's changed his position, but it's Sixer replacing him on the high ground, and together they will do a good job until Rops comes in, of course, with a 2K. Sixer trades, though, still alive is Sixer. Low in the heart, position unknown as far as the CTs are concerned. Now he's in 1 versus 1. His team can communicate where Sixer was, but he's changed it up again, abusing the high ground on A for an expensive win for Envy.
I mean, generally, I agree with you, James. I agree that, you know, the difference is in those small details. But to be perfectly honest with you, I do believe that one thing about who is defusing the bomb is going to be negligible.
I think Petar would be the best person to ask, right? Because he's a statistician.
But in what sense?
To crunch numbers to see how much value there is in thinking about that. Like in average scenarios or something. I don't know how you run an average scenario in a game where money has such impact as Counter-Strike, but maybe I'll pose a question to him and see what he thinks about it. Anti-eco rounds. Again, the high ground extremely important, which RPK still has. Changing up his position once again. I feel like this corner of the bridge can be even more difficult to deal with for the T's than the other one. Although perhaps the other side is more impactful because you have a better angle on Squeaky.
But what do you mean from a stats point of things?
I mean, like, I think you can, if you like knew enough about the maths behind it, you could calculate how much value there was in looking carefully when you can at who is defusing the bomb to see how that money can stretch value in rounds where it might make a difference between an AWP and not an AWP in a scenario where the AWP could have a big impact on a buy.
I agree that it might happen if the teams have a presence of mind. If it's like
Train, for example.
If it was like, okay, actually. Okay.
Okay. Well, RPK, he keeps keeping them surprised in terms of where he's located, but...
Never mind, James. It's all over. I'll continue talking.
Oh,
so, if it's like if it was a weak buy, and for example, a player can calculate that, you know, an opera can calculate that he's actually missing like $200 to be able to buy an AWP in the next round, and he can drop the gun that he has to one of his teammates. I think that might happen with pro teams, like with the best teams in the world, because they are usually the ones who have the presence of mind to think about those things. But what teams do in terms of economy in that sense is, you know, when someone needs to drop, obviously it's going to be the player with like the most money to even out the cash across the board, right? So that if you have to force or whatever, you all have an equal amount of money, and everyone has a healthy buy. So you don't need to be in a situation where, you know, a player will have to play with a UMP because he was dropping guns, and then one player will be left with maybe, you know, 2,500 for no reason. You know. I
love how Happy dies first, and Xmas doesn't even die. He's trying to troll his teammate.
You know, so
and only
this is actually James, wait. This is a great example, because if that was an enemy Molotov, he would die way faster. So an example of this being used in competitive play is SK Gaming, Train, T-Side. they throw the Molotov in their default towards upper ramp in brown holes, right? So that an Opera can't peek aggressively, and then Taco sometimes runs through their own Molotov and tries to surprise the player on B. And that actually works sometimes, and that gives them like a free gun round.
Well, it's time for a pistol round. Who knows if it's going to be free or not. We have a lot of players with Kevlar, no kit at all to be found for the CTs. Rops will get a double headshot though. Very nice by him. Dennis as well chiming in to kill Sixer. So life is not good for Envyus at the moment. The bomb is isolated, but it's Scream, and he's going to actually pick off one already. Does he even need any help? Happy's there in the upper bomb side. He's going to be calling over to Scream that it's clear now as he picks up the kill onto Lowell, and Scream will make his way over. And they will rejoin like a happy couple. Scream and Happy will frag their way to success. What a relationship. Dennis now is the last man standing. And we have Scream actually lurking with the bomb here. Interesting. And
mentioning Happy, Dan, I'd like to use this opportunity and wish a happy birthday to Shocks.
Oh, was it his birthday today?
I think I saw someone on Twitter wishing him a happy birthday.
So you're not even sure?
So if I was being trolled, then I'm just wishing him a happy birthday for whenever his birthday is. But if it's today, Shocks, happy birthday. Hope you stay in the scene for a very long time. We love seeing you play. You bring a lot of exciting moments.
A lot of headshots.
A lot of headshots.
Headshots and handsomeness.
And fabulous hair.
He probably has, he must have the best hair in Counter-Strike.
Well, ever since Sponge retired.
4-12. And it's been a difficult CT side for Mousesports, which I don't think we've even noted to this point. This is, sorry, a difficult CT side? What am I talking about? It's just started.
Yeah, difficult T
It's
side.
too early, Dan. It's too early. And
G2 had the same problems yesterday against Envyus. Envyus did an amazing job on this map. And G2 did have some points which they could close it, but Envyus did show that they really understand how to play this map very well. And, ooh, Rob's actually getting some damage done here with the UMP. Gets a reload in, another frag as well. They can't seem to trade him. And now he's just standing in the control room, doing all sorts of business, all sorts of damage to Envyus's chances in this round, as we have him just sort of guarding the bomb, and he can obviously allow Chris J any information that he picks up, that he collects, and Chris J's just just watching over with the scout, like a guardian angel perhaps for Rops. At least towards the bomb side anyway. Rops looks to have the stairs under cover, but it looks like the T's will try to challenge two at once, which is certainly the way you want to do this, to recollect the bomb. Nice running gun there from Sixer. Now it's down to Chris J with the scout. He's known for his scout shenanigans, but it's not going to work out this time. That said, props to Rops for getting a 3K there.
Bloody hell. I'd prefer if my guardian angel had an AWP or a Scar. Like,
well, Rops is so young, he just uses parent or guardian.
A scout feels like fairly weak for a guardian angel. You know,
It was Chris J though. He's a scout. Good at scout.
He needs shocks.
I still prefer an AWP. If you're gonna be my guardian angel, you better be well equipped, because I'm definitely gonna be needing help.
9-round lead for NV. Looking dominant on nuke so far. And Mousesports, at this rate, may not get an opportunity to really get their CT side going, because obviously it's a USP round for them. It's the USPs. So we're looking at a 10-round lead for NV coming up very shortly. And there it is. Quite the comeback needed for Mousesports. And their money is not spectacular either. Oscar will have an AWP dropped for him by Rops. Oh no, it's Chris J. Okay. So we've normally seen, I mean, maybe it's because he's got a better spawn. He's got a more forward spawn, so that might be it. Or perhaps they're just feeling it. Who knows? There are a number of things it could be. Maybe it's just Chris J time. Normally, Oscar is the primary AWP, but it's nice when you can switch things up. And if it's per map, then that's kind of cool as well. Looking for an early pick outside doesn't happen, and he will retreat as RPK makes his way into secret.
Oh, the bunny hopping there. Lots of noise made by Dennis. And RPK will easily take him down. This is something that RPK is quite good at, just opening up the secret area by himself, getting the entry frags there. And now Rops is going to try to challenge at ramp, and it's not going to go too well. Mousesports now looking like they may just lose this map very quickly, because Envyus have a decisive advantage in this round. They've got lower bomb site control, they have the man advantage as well, and Mousesports are scrambling for their rotations to try to do something here. And a great smoke there to cover the bomb plant. And Oscar will toss the bomb, rather the HE in there, but not really getting too much damage. And now Mousesports have a hard decision to make. Do they want to go for this, or save and play for overtime with the guns? Looks like they're going to go for it. Another frag there by Oscar. The time is ticking away now. These T's are making it so difficult, just hiding, not really peeking unless they are forced out of position. It's so hard to do. Just Oscar with 3 HP, and it looks like Envyus may have done it as Oscar looks to perhaps go for a retreat here. He'll get caught by Sixer, and Envyus 15-4 now. Mousesports can't seem to get anything done.
That feels like a very cheaply lost round by Mousesports, right? Just like a fairly standard split towards the lower bomb site, and just one player going towards secret through yard, 3 players pushing down ramp. Some miscommunication, it seems, on the Mousesports side. Dennis not expecting a player to be that close towards secret, and then Rops being pinched on ramp, didn't fall back in time.
Yeah, I think an issue for Dennis was that Chris J went outside quickly, didn't see anybody, but there was a smoke down, if I'm not mistaken. So perhaps one too many assumptions there gave Envy a really fast and easy lead in that round. So now we've got the quadruple UMP buy from Mousesports. Envy perhaps looking for some aggression considering the situation. Maybe not sure what to expect in terms of what Mousesports are carrying either.
Happy being very diligent there, just checking every single spot. And it looks like the level of proficiency on this map for Envyus is, they look very comfortable here. It seems to be where they're getting some of their best results. If they're able to close this one down, then that's going to be fantastic. And that's a nice entry frag from Scream. Rops is there. You can see they're looking for that spot, that kind of off angle at the corner. Nice push coming in from Mousesports. Wow, what the hell just happened? 4 players dead immediately with that push. I have no... That was insane. Just Happy left with 6 HP. Everything's fallen apart.
Oscar had great timing to push Hut, and Rops just did a great job of holding ramp. The problem for Envyus was their spacing wasn't good enough towards ramp. You could see how Rops basically got 3 1v1s. If Envyus did a good job at spacing, they would have been able to get that trade kill immediately and probably entrance towards the lower bomb site. But it's understandable, they have a big lead. Maybe they're not paying as much attention to detail as they should. They're only human after all that.
Chris J's given the AWP to Oscar, and he will continue with the scout instead. Oscar looking for the main peak. Very satisfying to get a kill there. And Chris J towards the ramp.
Which scout skin do you have? Yes.
There's the shark one, blood in the water.
Of course.
Covered in MLG stickers, of course.
Of course. I was just checking.
Follow
The
MLG
sharks.
stickers.
The sharks.
And it has the bug.
Where you
where
shoot
it
everyone
says-
in the head.
No, the name of it is like says the latest installment of the #1 FPS. It's just got some super long name on it. I just love. That's like my ultimate troll weapon.
Is it a sad track?
Absolutely.
How many do you have? 6?
A few hundred. He's moving into the ramp. Again, they're playing against match points. The scouts will give them an easy entry through the ramp into B. But what is their post plant going to look like? That's the question. It's proven difficult for Mousesports to retake when they don't have the man advantage in B in the short rounds where we've seen that today. Ooh. Well, that's a mistake. Sixer rotating just in time. Lovely no scope onto Oscar, and that's going to leave Dennis in a 1 versus 3. Moving in, but that won't happen.
Nice.
16-5. They had no choice. They had to go for it, and it didn't work out for him.
Great job from Sixer to close out that round, and pretty convincing win from Envyus, all things considered. I think Mousesports will be kicking themselves from losing that 4v2 pistol round in the first half. That's what basically set things in motion for Envyus. You could see that the score early on was 3-2. Even it was tied at 2 apiece early on. So if Mousesports managed to win that pistol round, they would probably get a very good start, maybe even go up 5-0. So it shows you how really you need to keep your focus and composure in those pistol rounds, or basically in any clutch round. And
Bistro got 5 kills.
Yes.
And they started on the T side.
Yes.
That's difficult. Difficult for him.
Yes.
But sometimes you have a bad game.
Shit happens.
Can you stop swearing on our show, please? This is really poor behaviour. It's so early as well.